everybody, it's Marguerite with Wreaths by Marguerite. I'm back today to show you how to make this over-the-top showstopper Santa wreath. Yes, I jumped on the Santa train and bought the Santa tree topper from Walmart and did my own spin on things. I love the traditional colors of this all. So today, this is how we are turning a ribbon mesh and a little creativity into beautiful wreath. So let's hang around and watch while I put this beauty together. It's done on a pine base with lots of mesh and lots of ribbon and some attachments as well. The Santa does come with a battery pocket for lighting it up, but I did not make it accessible because I don't like selling products that need batteries. So it is what it is. If whoever ends up with this wants to pull it off and put batteries in it so they can turn it on, so be it. But that's just where I'm coming from. So let's stay tuned and let's go ahead and get this started. Come on. First of all, these are all the elements that I will be using in this project. Let me set this wreath base down. It is I had a tag on it a minute ago. Okay, it doesn't now. It's a 20-inch, I think. Let's see. Oh, there's the tag. It's a 24-inch flock wreath. I'll set that over here. And then this is the center of our project, meaning this is what inspired it all. It's actually a tree topper, but we've converted it into a wreath sign, so to speak. And it does have a battery pack to light it up in the back, but we won't be using that at all. I went ahead and used my wood burner and put 2 holes here and 2 holes here to attach these 20-inch pipe cleaners to, so that it would be easier to attach it to the wreath. I could have done it another way, just glued it on, but I want it to stay on and be secure. So I'm going to put that over here. So on top of the base, we're going to use a 10-inch mesh. I have 2 rolls. These are all 24-inch in length, and these are all 20-inch in length. That way I only had to use 1 roll of the mesh, and that's all I had in this. But it's 24 inches in length the long way, 10 inches wide across this way. This will go on the outside edge, and this will go on the inside edge. Okay? Now here is what the mesh looks like with the 3 ribbons I've chosen to put on the tails all the way around the wreath. Those are all pre-cut over here in a pile. Right here, the rest of them. Move those over here. They are all 2.5-inch wide ribbons. You can do anything you want, but I chose 3 that were the same width because I want to see the ribbon more than anything. And I have a velvet. I've got different textures. I got a velvet, I got a linen with the snowball edge, and then I have the Santa within the thinner linen material. So I get 3 different textures, 3 different price points on the ribbon, so it keeps the wreath affordable. Okay, so that's that. And then these are the ribbons I'm using in the bow. You'll see that all of the ribbons that are in the ribbon tails are also here. I had originally cut ribbon tails in the green velvet as well so that I could alternate the red and the green. But I decided that it was just too much green on green, and we're going to stick with just the red velvet on this and incorporate it into the bow. So that's that. Let me stick these on here. Get them out of the way for now. Put these here. Won't need them for a while. I just don't want them to fall off of the frame. Let me see. So I'm gonna put that there. That. And these can fit in between that just to get it out of the way and not have it flop all over the place. And then I grabbed out a few different attachments to use. Oop, I'm going to glue that together. That I may or may not use in this design. I found 2 of these that are the right color combination. The ornaments, the light bulbs. I have more of these, but I only got 1 out for now of these holly berry bushes. I usually take them apart, and I don't make them into a poinsettia like I suppose it's supposed to be. I like to break it down, and it gives me more flexibility in use. But yeah, that's one of the ways you would use it. But I'm not using it that way. I may use more. I've got these cute little ho-ho-ho picks that are a perfect match for this Santa Claus for obvious reasons. So we'll probably incorporate at least one of those above the bow, but I have quite a few. And we'll put those up and out of the way because first and foremost, we are going to work on the frame, okay? Let me get pulled up here. I'm going uphill with this chair a little bit, so if I look like I'm struggling, that's because I am. Let's get it to the table. There we go. Alright, so this is 24 inches. It's going to be a fairly large wreath. After I take the tag off and save it for pricing, one of the first things that I do is I fluff out the wreath. And I like to lay it fairly flat so that the attachment fits in there well. So I usually get everything out of the way. Get all the outer ring pine tines laying flat against the table. This is going to make a mess, so make sure you have this around for cleaning the flocking off of your velvet ribbon, your clothes, the table, plus a good little brush to sweep off the table. So the way this one's made is different than the one I made the other day. Let's see. Both of them are very nice. This has a mixture of pine and then a different texture of pine. Since there's so many different kinds of pines, that works out really well. So first thing we're doing is getting this all out here and flattened out, making sure I'm only pulling out the pine tines from the bottom ring at this point. That goes up. Try to take one from the top. Let me get these all laid out. It's going to look really pretty flat once I get it all straightened out. Usually move these out of the way for now. Come on. Sometimes the way they put the flocking on there, they stick to each other. Don't be afraid to pull them apart. It won't hurt them. You might lose a little flocking, but trust me, there's more than enough on here. So that's that first layer. Fold it out. And then what I usually do is I go back and I take the pine tines one each direction. So I give it back a little bit of texture and depth. And it makes it easier for me to insert my mesh into it. You don't have to do it this way. You can just kind of fluff it out the way it comes. But this is my technique, and I like how it looks when I'm putting attachments into it. Let's see. That should go down and that should go up. Up, down, up, down. And I'm almost back to the beginning, right? Yep. Nope, this one. This one. This one. That. This one's going to be pretty large. I'll go down with that one. Alright. And then basically the same thing with the top layer. We're going to bring them all. You can do both processes at the same time, but I prefer not to. Quite frankly, on the top layer, now that I think about it, it's all going to lay pretty flat. Or maybe not. See, there I go, changing my mind every 2 seconds. Sometimes you're just doing it by the seat of your pants, huh? Well, I'm going to start with flaring them to the outside. And then I'll separate them. Because I need it to be flat, at least in one spot. Excuse me, on the top for the Santa hitchhiking pipe cleaners. Okay. That way. Oh, that's right, I'm still doing it. I'm trying to do it already. Oh my gosh. Just bear with me. supposed to be trying to get them all out there first. I'm all right. I should just stick with the technique that I'm used to and not try to do it a little different when I'm on camera, right? Right. Okay. And then when I get them all flat and out to the outer edge, I'll go back and flip one up, one down, one up, one down. That evens it out. There, and then we're back. Okay, so now I'll go the other way. So one way, one the other. Because, there we go. Because we do want it flat on top. This one's structured a little different than I'm used to, I think. It's part of my problem. We want the greenery in the center too. We don't want to see through the wreath too much. This should go there, and this should go there. On the top, it doesn't, it's okay for it to look flat. That's my story, and I'm just sticking to it. And this one should go that way. What do I do here? There we go. No, there, okay. Let's see. That's the bottom layer. So this goes here. This should go here. That one there. Okay, so I want it flat there because that's all going to be, that's pretty much going to have stuff sitting on it. So that's how the other one looked when I started out. So no big deal. First thing I'm going to do is check and see if there's a hanging hoop on the back of this one, which there isn't. It's a different company that made this. So that helps. All right, so let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is bring the mesh over here. And then the second thing I'm going to do is, see, my legs are covered in flocking, so I'm going to get rid of that. Although I'm going to be doing more again. More of it's on me than in the table. That'll be better to be clean as we go. I'll stick that there for now. Okay, so all this stuff, as much as possible, keep out of your way. I'm going to bring the ribbon over here for now because we're not going to need it for a little bit. Gives us a little bit more space. And I'm going to undo my sample. I like to do a trial one. That way I'm not cutting a bunch of product that I don't end up using. Gives me more comfort to know that that is going to work. Stick that under the table. So bring it up a little bit so I don't accidentally use one from the top layer. So I'm just going to pick anywhere and I'm going to start putting these in. Make sure they're in longer pine times because you're going to put ribbon in here as well. And I'm just going to tighten it tight and low one time to show you that. Alright, and then I'm going to go to the opposite side. Since there's 8, we want to do, excuse me, all this flocking. I'm going to do 12 and 6 o'clock, then I'm going to do 3 and 9 o'clock, and then I'll fill in there. That will make 8, and that way they're evenly distributed as well. I'm going to use the chip clip to hold it down while I'm ruffling and doing everything on the mesh. I'm also going to use this roll of ribbon to hold it down on one end because we're putting it curl side up, and we're going to make 1, 2, 3, 4 curls at the end. And then we're going to mark the center with a chip clip. A lot of the tools I use are things that you'll find around the house. That held it down while I was working on the other end. And I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. You can do 4 or 5 rolls. The whole purpose of putting the rolls in the end is to really, honestly, just to hold your cut edges underneath so they're not exposed. Because Deco mesh frays no matter what you do. So if you can minimize that process, the better off you'll be. Let me see. So I'm going to go right here. That looks about even right there. So we'll go with those two. I'm going to try to keep it straight across from that first one. But I needed to make sure I had pine tines that were long enough to put ribbons in later. So now I'm going to come over here and center it between the two of these. Again, we're using this 24-inch cuts, where the 20-inch cuts will go on the top layer. Use that to hold it down, curl side up. I'm creating a curl on the end. I'm rolling it 3 to 5 times. 4 is usually enough. Just depends on how tightly you make your curls. If you make them really loose, you're probably going to have to do a little more. But the more you use in the curl, the less you have to ruffle. If you want an even thicker mesh look, you could do 30-inch pieces of mesh. This is already going to have a lot going on it, so I didn't choose to do that. Plus, I only had 1 roll of this exact mesh. So I decided, you know, let's just do it a little, one size on the bottom and one size on the top. Let's see, where are the two I want? These two. We are still going to have some of this flocking appear on the outside of the wreath, and then you'll see little nubs of the flocked pine once you get the ribbon on too. So it will still be very visible, honestly. Make sure that's all centered. Let's see. So I want this to go across from that. I can relay this center down flat once we get everything else on. So I'm going to go with those two. Don't you run away from me. Okay, stay. A lot going on here for sure. If you don't have enough table space, just sit things off to the side, or as long as your floor is clean on the floor would work too. I often sit this on top of the trash can next to me to get it out of the way when I'm not working on it, because I don't like that one. Let me do it again. Because I don't put food trash in it, so it's just crafting supplies, so I'm not worried about what will get on the wreath that way. Rolling it further out to the outside edge keeps it more even, and I don't think I did that on the first try. And if you're not sure how to find your center, this has a pattern so it makes it easier. Just fold it in half and that'll help you find the center. And I was right on, but I attribute that to just doesn't want to cooperate. There's always got to be some with an attitude, don't they? I forgot what I was going to say. Oh well. Oh, for centering. This has a pattern on it, so it's not as hard for me to find the center easily. Make sure that's turned under nicely. I'm holding it loosely in the center so I can manipulate it still if I need to. Alright, so there's that. That means it's these two here. Okay. I have a feeling this is going to be one of my showstoppers for the upcoming events. I have 2 larger ones coming up. One really large. So there's the first 4. And now I'm going to go back and put 4 more. Blue string's bothering me. Okay. I'm going to put 4 more in between those 4. It doesn't have to be all the way at the end, just far enough past where you're going to be rolling it. This is what's commonly known as the woodland ruffle. It's got a curl on both ends, and then you gather it at the center. Gives you almost a bow tie look. Ruffling it at the center. Now, if you've noticed, I put it in this way with the curls up. You could also put it in the other way. I just like seeing the texture differences, the design differences. I think we're going for this two, these two, this two. Ugh. Making sure that's all the way down to the wire ring base. Make sure you're even on both sides. And the flocking makes me itch a little. I'll be rubbing my nose now and again. You watch. Come back here. Let's see. See, it's just connecting to everything. Not much I can do about that right now because everything that's in front of me needs to be in front of me. Also, I always recommend wearing short sleeves when working on projects that involve mesh for sure. It's like Velcro, so it sticks to everything. And I also recommend that you don't wear nice clothes when you're doing these projects, if this is something you're doing yourself. You'll be cussing at the, chewing out the mesh if you don't. I have been there, I have done that, I have ruined clothes. So we don't want to do that. I'm going to go with these two. Trying to make sure that it's as even as possible in between the other two. So this is what we've got going so far. Okay, let's go. If you ever get a string loose on the outside edge of your mesh, you can just pull it off. It's going to go all the way down, the entire piece of mesh, but it does not hurt the product, the mesh. One, two, 4. Clip the center. 1, 2, 3, 4. With this darker base, it should really make the sign and the ribbon pop. I'm really looking forward to how this turns out for sure. Those out of the way a little, so we're going to go with these two. I love the flock look, not for me in my own personal tree, but I just love the wintry effect of the flocked mesh. Not mesh, wreath frame. Seems like there's a lot of extra space there, but I guess not. This one seems like there's more room. Well, we can make sure to put Santa on that side. Oh, is that the last one, please? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that was a short one. Which would be a bad thing since there's no extra, but that's okay. I would just rob one from the top layer. It's not going to hurt anything if it's uneven because we're using the same 3 ribbons in all the tails, so I don't have to worry about having 2 sets of tails next to each other that are exactly alike, because that's going to be the case with all of them. And if I were using 2 different ribbon combinations for the tails and I had an odd number of tails to do, I would just put the duplicate ones under the bow or the Santa head, so it's much less visible. Okay, so it's these 2, right? Yes. These 2. Before I put the Santa head on, I will definitely, no. This one and this one? These 2, okay. I will definitely take a look at this. Look at the mesh and ribbon to see if it's all evenly placed. Try to do that as you go. So there's the first layer. And now we're going to go back and we're going to put them in the top layer. Now remember, those were 24 inches in length. These are 20 inches in length. Still 8 pieces. Curl side up. You just won't have as much ruffle. See how curling it curls up, fights me. That's why it's nice to have something to weigh it down. The clip helps a lot. It's that extra hand for you. Just ruffle that up the center. You can use 1 or 2 hands to ruffle it. So it doesn't have as many ruffles. And this time I'm going to go back and I'm going to put them in between each so that it's staggered. It's still going to come out even. Let me see. So we want that one and that one. So get that all the way down in there nice and tight. That's going to have nice length tails on it once the ribbon's in there. So that was one. Now we're going to go here. So it's going to be no, is it these two? I feel like there's one missing in there. Well, it'll have to work. We'll go with those two because that seems to be the most dead center between the two. Weigh that down on that end and curl one end. And if any of the directions for this confuse you at all, first remind yourself, I'm left-handed, and that may be why you're getting some confusion on direction. The direction product goes and such. Because that may be a factor. I couldn't tell you because I'm left-handed how it would be for a right-handed person. Alright, so that means right here, these two are going to be ties. It's getting fluffier by the minute. And I may have done it 5 times, rolling the curls on the last one. I don't remember. Four is better for the smaller lengths, for the 20 inch. The 24, 5 is fine. I'm sorry, I'm a flinger, so hopefully that doesn't come across as too loud for you. Alright, so that's all good. That beautiful flocked stuff is, the pine tines are sticking out nicely. Okay, we're going to use these two. Where's that one on that side? Okay, yep, leave it there. Let go. Don't just jerk it if it gets stuck to itself or something else. Try to manipulate it out before you go jerk it on it, because that could affect the design too. Okay, so I think we're what, 1, 2, 3, this is halfway point. That way the tails on the top layer, by staggering this layer in between the mesh from the bottom layer, that way the ribbon tails are staggered in between each. So I want this one and this one. Yeah, that's my string. I'm sticking to it. So this is number 5. I just thought it'd be really neat to do a more traditional colored wreath. And yes, I jumped on the bandwagon. Everybody's picking up these Santa tree toppers at Walmart. You just never know where you're going to find the right and appropriate product to inspire your design. I've seen people paint them brown and gold to give it a more rustic look. I've seen them done in swags. That's a longer version of a wreath. But I liked the idea of Santa on one side and a super big fluffy bow on the other side. So that's my story and I'm sticking to it. So these are the next two I'm going to use. There's quite a bit of the flocked left to go up the middle. This was a Walmart flocked base, 24 inches. Went to get another one and I got it, but they went up again this year. Everything's an excuse to raise the prices, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Meaning from overseas. Wish we could make it all here, but the reality is it's just not logistically smart. My business coach, Damon Oates, with Deco Exchange, did a really good example of why it's just not feasible anytime soon. It'd be something we'd have to grow into because, you know, if you're making a flower, first you have to, what is it called? Make the metal wires. Because you got to have the metal wires to start with. And then you'd have to make the fabric. And on and on and on. I mean, it's a very long process if you don't have the right tools to make it. So there's that. I'm grateful regardless of where it's coming from. I buy from companies that are in the United States. So they are benefiting, small businesses are benefiting from me purchasing these things from them, and that way I can make you all sorts of pretty things. So that one was there, so this one is this one. So I should have two left or one. Was there, so that means this one's here. And we're going to go with this. And those are from down there. Where's the other one? There it is. We'll use that one. I think that's the last one. Yep, it is. So the final piece of mesh. I have found, like the Santa, I have found inspirational pieces for wreaths anywhere and everywhere. Even when we're traveling for leisure, I like to pop into shops and see what they have. I've bought stuff from Cracker Barrel. You know, there's all sorts of different places that you can find the goodies. It doesn't have to be just a sign company. Or the Hobby Lobby. I do a little work with the Hobby Lobby, but there we go. That's the first step. Let's do a quick sweep again before I set it back down. Right into the trash can for the most part. I still have to vacuum, so not a big deal. Alright, so now it's time to bring out the ribbon tails. I am going to put all of these in now. That doesn't need to be that close. Come on. Come on. Thank you. Alright. So one thing I didn't point out when I was talking about the ribbon before is on the snowman, there's words on it, and the snowman only goes in one direction. So you're going to want to be cognizant of that when you're putting it in the wreath and which is the top and which is the bottom of your wreath, unless you do like I'm going to do. Every other ribbon tail of mesh and mesh will be, one will go this way and one will go this way, back and forth. I can do that also because I'm only using one version of ribbon tails. They're all going to be these 3 ribbons. And we have an even number of ties. You can do it with an even number of ties. So that's what I'm going to do. Usually I start on the bottom when I put the ribbon tails on. No, I'm still going to, now that I think about it. A lot of people do it from the top down, but I want the top ribbon to layer over the bottom ribbon a little bit. So I'm going to gather it in the center where the creases were in the bundles. And it's going to go, and I'll show you. I'll pick it up to show you once I get it in there. I'm going to put it, see how I took it towards the edge of the table like that? That helps it stick out past the base so you can see what's going on. I'm going to twist this pine tine a couple times, and then I'm going to lay the pine tine down on each side of the ribbon. Let me see if I can give you this view here. You should be able to see that a little bit better. Someday I'll have overhead cameras, just not today. So I'm going to take the top 2 ribbons, and then I'm going to take the bottom ribbon and position it where I want it to be. Then do the same thing again, lift, separate, position. I'm running my fingers over the ribbon as I'm positioning it to give it some definition, get the wrinkles out, all those things. And then I'm on the other side, I'm going to turn it the other way because I like to make the wreath do the work for me, so I'm not stretching and straining, okay? So you won't see me do that, but this time the red velvet's going to go up and towards the center of the wreath. The stripe with the snowball on it will be in the center as always, and then the Santa will be out to the outer edge. So let me give you a look at that after I get them right. They like to move on their own. And this is super fluffy, so it's fighting for the attention. Okay. You can just completely starburst them, which is basically what I've done. I will continue straightening this velvet out once I get done. There's no point at this point because it's probably going to get messed with. There you go. Along the way, from scooting it around, let's do another one. So that, remember, I had the Santas one way on the other bundle, so now the one next to it will be the opposite way. So right side up, upside down, right side up, upside down is what the technique is we're doing. Put that in there. I'll do a few more and show you where I'm at. So once I've put the ribbon in there, I take the pine tines and put one tip on each side of the center. You can see all that beautiful flocked goodness that way. Don't cut it off. Definitely not on a flock wreath. The velvet is a little bit more particular, so it requires a little bit more attention when you're fluffing it out. And if you get the really thick velvet, whew, it's fabulous. It's fabulous, but it is stiff, stiff, stiff. Okay, I'll do one more before I show it too, or maybe 2. Shake that flocking off of it. So now we're going back to the Santas in the opposite direction. And I'm tucking that pine on each side of the center. And I'm going to lift, separate, position the ribbon. You'll see it better when I get to the top layer. All its fluffiness is getting in the way. And yes, I do work off of the table a little bit. It's more comfortable for me, and I feel like I get a better grip on what I'm doing than hanging over the table. Come on, work with me. pull it down low enough. I have a box big enough for this. Because this is going to be another big one. Let me do one more. The things I think about, right, while I'm working. But it's important. If this is going to end up shipped, I got to have the right size box for it. Right now, the base, before I put anything on it, was 24 inches. I also thought about squeezing the base and making it into an oval, but I don't think that will be necessary. I could still do that after I get all the ribbon and mesh in. I don't know that I need to do that on this one. I think that the round is going to probably work the best for this design. We will see soon enough. Okay. That one up there. Running my fingers over the edges, I'm also giving it a little bit of a curl as I'm straightening the wire out as well. Something to consider. So let me show you where I'm at so far. Pretty pretty. It's coming right along. So, right side up again. This Santa ribbon is what's called directional ribbon because the design and or the wording only goes one way. And in this case, the design as well as the wording only go one way. A lot of ribbon does not. It goes both ways, so you can put it in however and not have to worry about what direction it is facing. And don't be afraid to put a little strength into lifting and separating your ribbon. It's not going to hurt it more than likely. It's been pretty rare for me to destroy a piece of ribbon from putting my my strength into lifting, separating, and positioning. The only time, honestly, that I've ever really had that problem is in a ribbon that has 2 or 3 different pieces of ribbon bonded together. Then that you need to be a little more careful on pulling. Okay. Next. This is going to go upside down. I'm trying to think if I don't think I've done an extra large Santa wreath before. To be honest, I think this is a first. I've done snowmen several times. I have that really big gingerbread one. If you want to see it, it's in the shop. It's massive. I've done a huge nutcracker wreath. I love that one. And nutcrackers are coming back bigger than ever these days. So maybe I'll have to do another one. Not this year, but probably next year. I'm pretty confident one of my kits next year will be a nutcracker wreath. I found some really cute ribbon. I'm just trying to find the right sign right now. Everything else will fall in place. So if you follow me to make kits that I sell, keep an eye on that. I usually start out with Christmas in July each year and at least put one of the Christmas designs in the Christmas in July series in the kits and a few other pieces. I think it's good to have the Christmas in July event. Some people think we're nuts, but it allows you to really think about what you have in your collection of decor for the holiday and lots of time ahead to determine if you need something new or if you're going to change your theme. Because honestly, as a maker, we have to have our Christmas shopping done pretty much by the end of July because supplies become more limited with the companies that we buy from. Yes, they have everything in Hobby Lobby, they have most anything you would need in Hobby Lobby and Michael's, but they don't have the selection I can get above and beyond. And we gotta have choices here, you know? Gotta have lots of choices. Okay, this is the last one on the bottom layer. I have to keep checking my work because when I talk a lot, I don't always pay attention. Okay. And then lift, separate position. Probably before I take pictures is when I'm really going to detail getting all the fuzz and stuff off. That's why a lint roller is a great tool in the craft room. See, these got a little smush because I hit them along the ribbon on the other side. So that's why I always recommend don't spend too much time handling the ribbon after you put it in until you get done, because you're going to have to do it then anyway. Okay, so there's the first layer. Look at that. Oh, I'm excited. Alright, so now we're going to go back and do the same thing with the top layer. And we're still going to position it. What am I trying to say? I'm still going to do the V here. You could just do the starburst. I might do that every other. So I twisted it once, and then I'm taking the pine tine down on one side of the center and the other one on the other side. On the top layer, I do it a little differently. I'm going to put the velvet on the inside, both sides of them, on one side. And then it's going to be exactly the same on the other side. So on this one, the red velvet will go there. This is so thick. I love it. So fluffy. So that means that the next one, the red ribbon will be on the outside. And I'm going to wait, and I'm going to do every other on this layer. So I'm not having to manage it so much as I'm going along. If I mess it up, I got to fix it. I'll try not to do that. So this is the next one. This is the next one after that. So these are all going the same direction with the Santa design. Twist. You can do it 1 or 2 times, depending on how much you have left on your pine. And we're going to lift, separate position. Lift, separate position. And I'm pulling it all the way up to pull it out from the base so it will go where I want it to, and I can get those little wrinklies out. So again, red up. I pulled it all the way down to the pine tine. Sometimes you have to help it a little. That one's in the center, and then I'm bringing this one down here. So I'm going to go back and do the one in between real quick so you understand what I'm doing. So I'm trying to keep this down here. I was going to just spew them out, but they need to face the outside of the wreath. Otherwise, there's no room for this bundle. I'm going to turn it the other direction. Do the same thing. And that way these sit on top of those that are on either side of it. Hopefully that helps you understand. I'm not going to do it twice on there. Putting the pine tines on each side. Just once I twisted it. So now we're going to lift it up, separate, bring the velvet to the outside, where on the other tube next to it, it's facing the inside. And then that. So let me do that on the other side. Lift, separate position. Lift, separate position. And the same thing here. Alright, Alright, so see how that looks with those three so far? Okay, so I'm going to skip this one and go to here. So this will be right side up. I'm just going to finish the right side up. So this is number... Wait, that's the next one. So I'm going here. Alright, put that in there. And you can also, just another tip, if you don't have enough length on your pine tines to go around your ribbon like this, you can always open it all the way up, all the way down to the mesh so that the ribbon is laying right on the mesh and there's no twist between. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. They get super thick like this. Sometimes that's a necessary step. I may have done that with this one. I'm not 100% sure. It's just so thick. Fluffy. She's a thick one. Or he's a thick one. Santa's a guy, Marguerite. Anyway. Put that one there. So I lifted and separate, I positioned, and I'm lifting and separating it all the way down to the base of the pine tines. And then I have to do that, skip that one, so we're going to do this one. And that leaves one more. Perfect. So we have 3 sets left to go in the final. I'm going to open that up a little bit, because it's not a very thick one. So I'm going to bring that, not a very long pine tine. There we go. That's better. Placing one side on each side of the center. So again, this one's also going to have the red velvet up top. Lift, separate, position. Lift, separate, position. Just repeat that enough and you'll never forget. Lift, separate, position. There. Get a little curl. Place it in there. Okay. And now we're going to go back and we're going to do those that were in between it that will lay on top. Got some stuff going on there. This needs to be down here a little bit. That's why it looked funky. Now Santa's going the opposite direction in these final 3. So I already did one of them there. Okay, so now the velvet's going to the outside. So lift, separate, position. Lift, separate, position. This little piece here has an attitude from the bottom layer, so we need to put it back in its home. Let's do this. Lift, separate, position. Alright, so those 2 are done. I got 2 to go. So there's one here. I think that's long enough. Open it up a little. So it's also going backwards. Santa's going backwards. Not sick, I just get dry from all this talking. Soda. Alright, that hit the spot. Lift, separate, position. Lift, separate, and position. Okay, Mr. Santa, work with me. Okay. Fuzz on there. Lift, separate, position. Same thing here. I'm gonna get up to the last one because right after that I'll start putting Santa Claus in the wreath. It's almost ready for him. This thing's going to be huge. So Santa is backwards. Love this. If I didn't have buffalo plaid, I know I say this with every creation, if I didn't have buffalo plaid all over the house at Christmas, I would use this, but that'd be a lot of change in decor, and I'm not ready to start that all over again. I've done traditional, I've done an all ornament tree from travels we've done, and we have more than enough for one, if not two trees now. We like to take lots of little trips as well as big ones. I did a blue and white and silver vintage. And then now we're on the red and black buffalo plaid stage. So this is where we are at. And now I have to take a look at it, and I'm using the camera to look at it, to determine where Santa needs to go. And I try to always have one of the ribbon tail bundles at 12 o'clock and one at 6 o'clock to help me keep it even. I think Santa's going to go over here. This is definitely not a storm door wreath. He is thick. He is a thick one. So he's going to go there. And I use this little, I had a green one before and I dropped it and can't find it. These are 6-inch plastic embroidery needles. They are great tools to pull your pipe cleaners through the back of the frame when you need to pull something through. I've used 20-inch pipe cleaners. They come in the basic colors and a few others so far, but not the right color green. So I went with red pipe cleaner on the back of the head, and then I went through with a white pipe cleaner on the body of the face. So this is going to go right about there, and I'm going to pull it through all the way to the back. Let's see. Well, you got to leave it on the hook, Marguerite. Good grief. I folded the tip of the pipe cleaner over so that... Look at him. He's trying to run away already. Dude, calm down. Yes, I'm talking to an inanimate object. Won't be the last time, I'm sure. Okay, so that's going to go there. And I put kind of a hook in the end of the pipe cleaner so it wouldn't pull back through the frame. And then I think I'm going to go right there. The goal is to get one side of the pipe cleaner on one side of the metal base and one on the other side. Alright, so now I'm going to pull it through. I'm going to leave that one on for now. I'm going to get some, here's one of my nutcracker signs. I'm going to use this to cover his face while I'm turning it over so I don't scratch it. This is another reason why I say don't spend a whole lot of time fluffing your ribbon extra. So I gotta move this through because it's around both. I mean, I could leave it, but I'm gonna want to try to hide as much of this as possible. So I've got it on one side of the inner loop, and I'm gonna tie this off, and only about 4 or 5 times I'm gonna twist it because I want to make sure it's where I want it first and not pull it in too deeply. Oh, he is so cute. But of course he's Santa. So don't fuss too much. Now I'm going to, I think I'm going to put it on either side of this piece under him. Get one side here. Putting a hook on the end of it so it stays on the needle. And I'm going to pull it through. If it'll let me. You can do this without these little needles. I have big metal ones too. I like the embroidery ones, the plastic ones, because they're a little more flexible. Sometimes you need that. Okay, let's go over here and do this on the other side. Put this through. I think I achieved it this time, having it on. Oh, maybe not. Off either side of the wire frame. Oh, I did. Yay! Ideally, I could have used green pipe cleaners and just put two together, but then it makes it a little more difficult to get it through the Santa head. Sorry, Santa. I'm just going to do it a few times. When I'm totally done with the project, I will cut the excess off and just wrap some of it around the frame. Alright. That kept him from getting scratched. This is always important. So this is where we are. Okay. So I'm going to set him aside while we make the bow. He's going to hang out over here comfortably on top of the trash can. I'm going to keep that out because I'm going to need it for now. And it's time for ribbon. Let me sweep the table. Okay. And towards the end of making the bow, I need to remember to turn the glue gun on. I guess I could do it now, couldn't I? Put this away. I'm going to use one of the really long, where are they? The really long zip ties to hold the bow together. And then I'm going to use two green ones. I could use green wire too. I could have used wire on the back of Santa's head just for future's reference. I'm going to use pipe cleaners. What color looks closest? I'll go with green. So if you're using pipe cleaners that aren't long enough, back to the table, Marguerite. I don't know if you caught a glimpse of my jeans again. They're covered in flocking. You just take the two and you just twist around one side till it's gone. And these are 12 inches of standard length. The other ones were 20 inches. Just do the same thing on the other side. And then I always give it a good tug to make sure it's secure. And that's ready to go when we finish the bow. See. So I'm going to start with, I think I'll start with the glittered. How's that? Trash is right there, so I'll put it through Santa. Use my ribbon tail board, my ribbon holder. This is pretty big. So I'm going to do 16-inch tails to start with, which is to the end of the board. You can always cut it off. You can't add to it if it's not long enough. I thought a little white glitter would go in this really well. I love that the blow mold characters are back. I'm going to go 7.5. This is pretty big. I could do 8 because this is pretty stiff. Bring him over here a little bit. I had a ruler and I had a tape measure. Oh. So let me get the tape measure. Measure it before I go using too much or not enough. So if I did a 14-inch, Yeah, I'm gonna go with the 7-inch, not 7.5. Maybe Santa will tell everybody to bring me. No, I'm kidding. Santa can tell my husband to bring me a bigger chair. New chair. Not bigger. New. And a new chair mat. Because this one is all crackled. I Jimmy rigged it by putting an old cutting mat on top of the floor mat to cover the holes. It works okay. My problem is I'd rather buy a roll of ribbon than any other kind of supplies. Tools. Okay, there we go. I'm going to do the same thing. Keep them both 16 for now. Alright. Done with that one. So, that was new, so it didn't have a pen. Alright, keep that out for now. Put that there. What's that pen doing over there? Waiting to fall on the floor for me to step on, right? Alright, so this is going to stay in the center because I'm going to put the Santa and the stripe on either side of it. I just love these. This one right here. I just love it. Love it. It's one of my favorite buys last year. So we're going to go with 15-inch tails. Twist. So I've got the finished side of the tail up, the finished side of the first loop down. What we're doing is 2 of each of the ribbons, I believe. So this is going to be just ever so much slightly smaller of a loop than the white. So the white's a true 7, and this stripe's about 6.5, 6 3/4. Just enough for it to peek out, for the white to peek out. So let's see. How does that look there? Yes? Yeah, it's almost an inch. We'll go with it. So it's going to be down on one side, up on the other, and then I'm going to create that 15-inch tail again. Get that all positioned, try to get all these little pockets out so it's all sitting correctly in the frame, the bow maker. We'll use that one because I don't see where I put the other one. Maybe this was from that. Alright, so the next one is Santa. So it's going to be important to remember that one of the tails is going to be upside down. I mean, you could cut it, and I think I will today. So, I cut that off. I don't like to do that very often, but I think this is a good position. Good example to use it in. Just a little bit on this side. It'll all be hidden by everything else. And I'm going to do that one also in a 15-inch tail. So then we're going to come back and we're going to ruffle it just like we did there. Gather it and turn it upside down so that the design is facing down on the table. And then we're going to make sure that it's positioned correctly. And then we're going to make this a loop that matches the length of the striped ribbon without crushing it. And so that way Santa will be right side up over here at the top. And then over here he will be upside down, but we're going to fix that very quickly. I'll show you the secret. It's not really a secret, but it works really well. We're going to get it in place. We're going to cut off the excess. Make sure it's the same length as the other side. Give or take an inch, won't hurt it. So, this tail is on this side. So what we're going to do is we're physically going to turn this entire loop like this. So see what I did there? So the stripe will go up here. Santa will go down towards me. This side the Santa goes up. and the stripe goes down to me. If you don't care the direction of your ribbon, you can put it in any which way you want, but I find that this is how to do it best when you have directional ribbon. Put the blue one in there. Blue pin. Alright, so try not to crush your ribbon. I did a little bit with the glittered ribbon, and it's going in between these two. So the next layer is going to have the green and the red velvet. I'm going to put the green velvet so it sits atop that. But first, I'm going to put in... No, I'm going to go ahead and do those first, and then put this on top. And then this on the very, very top. See what I'm doing there? Alright, so let's start with the green. Get a pop of green since the green is not showing a whole lot on the base of the wreath. So these are going to be 14 inch. And 2 loops of each of the colors, the green and the red. So this is going to go up there. So now that last one was basically 6.5 inches. So this is going to be, we're going to go with 5.5. So it's going to go up here. Needs to be a little bit shorter. We don't want it hiding that striped ribbon. So it'll be more like 5. Yeah, that's 5. Don't want it any smaller. This velvet is hard to work with when you make it the loops too short. Okay, so this, come on, work with me. It's got a satin back to it, and if you know anything about satin, it's pretty particular, but it keeps the ribbon affordable. So that one's up. That one's down. Let's fix that up a little in there. And then I did these at 14. So the red will be the same. I thought about using this reindeer in this wreath, but I decided, no, let's stay on the subject at hand, Santa. And I want the sign. Okay. Man down. Okay. You're always trying to have your tails where they belong, ultimately, so that they're not in the way of your... It's about a finger between the two. My finger. Let's do the red one. Again with the 14. Do the exact same thing with the red. I just think that is so rich looking. Let me know what your thoughts are on velvet ribbon. Yay or nay? I certainly wouldn't use it if it didn't have a wire in it. No, not going back to that. I'm just going to have enough, it looks like. Woo, perfect. I was able to make quite a few wreaths. 3 of them with this roll. And the problem is I only got 1 of each because I was kind of hesitant at first of buying velvet ribbon to work with, but it's just so pretty. I did get some for fall as well in that sage green and then that pumpkin orange. Just different quality velvet from this. They both work really well, but you can tell the difference. This is very satiny on the back. The other one is more like a, I don't know what the material is. A little bit more like a thinner linen, like the same as the Santas are here. Alright, so green down, red up. We'll play with it a little more once it's finished. Velvet is always temperamental that I've seen. from my experience. There I got, how much do I have left on the roll? A whole 21 inches out of 10 yards. Just roll that up. I'm probably at the end of the season going to put my velvet in Ziplocs so that it doesn't get dirty or linty. The lint brush not really helps, but let's avoid that if we don't have to. Okay, put that aside. And put that away in the middle. And then we're going to have this to brighten it up on top. And Santa has a little bit of a gold, he has a gold belt. This one we are going to make 16 to the end of the board long because we're going to curl this one for sure. I don't know about any of the other ones. I think just a couple curls enough. This is a classic wreath design, so this will go just inside, so that's going to be like 4.5 inches. So it's in between the two. Another roll at the end. I've had this roll for years. I've just been waiting for the right project to use it on. And I have enough to do maybe a little bow to sell. To use in a bow to sell. So it's almost 5, yeah, 4.5, almost 5. Okay, so let's get that. And you're going to lose a little length on these ribbons once you put the zip tie on, because it's going to pull it down. I love this one. I just need to keep this outer edge so I know if I want to order it again. What I do is trash. What I usually do is take a piece of ribbon and attach it to the side of the ribbon roll. I'm just going to wrap it all the way around, but I usually just take a little piece and either glue or staple it to this so I know the SKU number for ordering more if that's something I want to do. Alright, so last but not least, I sure hope this matches enough. It's the Santa belt. I don't know. Let's try it. I can always take it out before I'm finished. I'm going to go for it. It's just a single loop in the center. You can always take it off and put a white glittered center loop. Okay, so now I'm going to take that zip tie and I'm going to place it on the left side of the post on the bow maker. This is my favorite. It's the Easy Bow Maker Deluxe. I have to look at it again once I get the bow off. And it's easy with a Z. From EasyCraft. e-zcraft.com. So easycraft.com. Let's pull that up and off. Get it out of the way. Easy Bow Design Pro. I was off a little. All I know is I love it. Okay, we're going to take it back here. Squeeze it together. Get that pipe cleaner in there. Feed it through and put the little knot right under the zip tie. And take that down, not super tight yet because we're going to adjust our loops and everything. Get all these tails down to the center. They moved a little bit. We will fuss with them now and when they get in the frame. This goes here. I almost need a wider frame for this video. This stays on the very top. Hold it right there. I'm going to pull that in a little bit more. I don't want a monstrous loop. It's going to go right here. So this loop here at the bottom, white in the center, Santa on top. And there's those. Just mostly making sure they're in the right position and that they're right side out, down by the zip tie. Santa needs to come out a little bit more. I think we'll fuss with them a little more when we get in there. Into the wreath. This goes down here. This goes up there. Turned a little bit when I put the zip tie in, probably because of how I handled it. So that's going to go down. So now I'm going to tighten this up. Where are my needle nose? Yesterday they were on the floor when I was looking for them. Today I just don't see them at all. So I'll just tighten it up with my hand super tight. There we go. That'll work. Clip off the excess zip tie. Put it in the trash can. I'm going to move everything else out of the way for now. And bring the wreath back up here. We turn it around. Fuzz there. Okay, so this is where I need that embroidery needle again to take the pipe, the pipe cleaner through the frame. And I'm going to take it there first. This one's got such a classic look, really. Sometimes I amaze myself. Alright, does that look right? It needs to go up a little bit higher, I think. Come back to me. Where are you, needle? I think we're going to bring it up a little bit higher. I'm going to bring it up through this mesh right here. I mean, I could put it completely around that. Maybe I will. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. So that's on that side. And then I'll take this other pipe cleaner and I will put it on the other side of the pine tine that's holding this set of tails right here in place. But far enough under it so that you're not going to see the pipe cleaner once it's done. Alright. Alright. So I like that there. And of course one didn't get on the other side of the frame, so I will fix that now. And put that on there. Trying to do it one-handed while I hold the wreath up. Probably the hardest thing I do. Okay, I'm going to bring it through. That's, again, this is a flexible needle, so it makes it easier for me to get it in this tight space. Okay, come on. Where's the end at? There it is. Maybe. There it is. See, I can bend it. Oh, it went back through the mesh. No, we don't want to do that. Once was enough. Okay. Come on. There you go. Woo! Okay. So, I'm going to tighten that up. Remembering in the end, I got to go back and make sure it's tight enough that it's not going to flop. Go back when I'm done and finish twisting it and then cut off the excess. Wrap what I do keep on it around the frame. Yeah, I think that ribbon will be fine. It's a little different red, but who cares? Who cares? All right. Take a look at this. It's so big. It's so big. I'm going to put it like that. No, I'm going to put it up and down. Okay. It's easier for me to do it from here. So let's separate everything out and fluff it up. The white goes in the center. See, the velvet has a little bit of a mind of its own. Let's get these positioned there and there. There. Green up here. This should be up past the Santa a little bit. And if I say snowman, my apologies, I keep saying snowman. Okay. Alright. We need to go like this a little bit more. There we go. I'm not gonna, do I want to cut the ribbon yet? Do I want to commit? This is all the ribbon here. Or do I want to start attaching things first? I think, what do we want to do here? I think we're only going to go with one ho-ho-ho. Or at all. Because I put that up so high. I can do this if I cut it way down. Oh, I forgot to put the glue gun on. Hurry, warm up. Okay. Put this away. These things keep jumping out of the shelves at me. Alright, so I'm going to hold on to this tag. And I think if I cut it, glue strings from when they made it. Glue strings are the devil. I always cut them off later too. What I'm thinking is that one back there. I cut it off. Do I want to use those or these? I'll use these. If this doesn't work, I'll bring out the massive equipment to cut it. Ugh, that was thick. So I'm not going to glue it in yet for a couple reasons. I want to make sure it looks right, and I need some time for the glue gun to heat up. I think I like it sort of in the bow. So that'll go behind it. That will go behind it as well. Just put that down like that. I can position this once it's in there. I think it can go right there. Okay. I messed up the bow. Story of my life. Warm enough yet? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue on the back side. And then I'm going to put some on the top. Don't let it sit in the same position too long or it'll start dripping off everywhere. I'm trying not to burn myself. You'll know if I do. Okay, I'll let it just sit there. I'm not going to mess with it. We'll come back to it. Okay. I really think I need to start doing the ribbon. Okay, I'm keeping the length for most of it. Get these out of the way. Start with the bottom ones. So we've got these two. Cut this. Because I can cut it again if it's still not short enough. Santa! I still believe because I still want presents. That saying's been going around for a while. If you don't believe anymore, you don't get presents. I believe. Of course there's a Santa Claus. Anybody that says there isn't doesn't know what they're talking about. I'll bring the green out over here. Temperamental. Alright, so that'll go there. Pretty sure I'm going to use this holly in here. No, I did it backwards. Aye! There we go. And then roll it up. Then I'm going to lay it back down there. And then the same thing with this, except I'm just doing a slant cut and not a dovetail. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Okay, so I'm going to put the stripe to the outside on this side because I had it to the inside on the other side. But first thing I need to do is I need to cut the white glitter, and I want to make sure it doesn't go past the edge of the wreath to help contain the shape. Then we'll do this one shorter here because it's out there. And Santa will go towards the center. So he's going to be right there. And we're going to flip these two. So that the green's on the inside this time. Give it a little curl. We're going to go here. See if we can do this without messing that up. I don't like this. Have I said that yet? Oh, Santa. I'm going to have to get a box because this is going to be at least 12 inches deep. Hopefully someone buys it locally so I don't have to ship it. Okay. I want to use these. I use it here and here. And then let me cut the end off first. Alright. And the tag. I'm going to take a knife and try not to cut myself. Make it easier to separate the leaves. I cut that part. Yeah, there we go. I don't think I'll use the little poofs. And yes, I'm that person, balance and symmetry, so I gotta separate them out by size. That might be smaller. These all the same size? Yep. Okay. So I'll probably do 3. 3 and 3. That'll work perfectly. Yay! So I think I'm going to do a set here and here and then a set next to Santa. So I'm going to put them back together. Twist that up a little bit. So it'll be like this. Put some glue on there. Not drip on my toe, that would hurt. Wiggle it so it stays in there. There's that. And I'll do 2 down here. So I got 3 picks out of 1 with this. Poly poinsettia leaves. Okay, so that one's right there. So I'm going to put 1 there. This one will go right up in there. And we'll wiggle it around in there so it stays where we put it. Pine tine on top of it to hold it in place, and do the final one. I could put more, but you would do it in 3 or 5, so I'm doing 3, so that would be 2 more bundles. Where? Because I have those. Do I not use these then? He's so tall. Try not to cut my hand because I don't know where my needle nose went. It's gonna go right here. Ow, don't do that. Don't do it. I'm gonna go back and I'm going to give them a little bit of a curve. This one. Put this ho-ho up there. This up here. And the ball there. Twist that a little bit. Give it a little character. And then this guy up in here. I'll fold it down in, just like I did with this one. And then I'm going to bring the velvet up behind it. And this right there. Get the glue stick out of there. And there. String, not stick. I could fuss with this all day. The question is, do I want to put these in? I think I do. No, I think I'm going to go with another holly, set of holly. One that's not. Nope, they're all complete, so I'm back. I'm back. I think that this one doesn't really go with the theme. Oof. I'll save that for another project. I also like to do things in threes, and there's only 2 of those. So there's that too. I'm just cutting the paper that the wire is wrapped in so that they pull apart easily. And I need 3. Do I need 3 sets? Let's see. I don't need that. So this and 2 of these for there and there. And there. I think that that'll be enough. I still want you to be able to see everything. I don't want everything buried. So this will go over there. I'll lift this pine tine up that I wrapped, because I'm going to put it in the middle of that and then wrap it around with the pine tine. See, I'm putting the pine tine over there. This ain't going to go anywhere now. This will hide the base. And then we'll put one down here, like right here. And I'll do the same thing. I'll lift up the pine tine from around the ribbon tails enough so that I can place this in it. Gluer. Oops. Don't want to wear the glue. Put that in there. Put the pine tine around it. I'll never notice it. Wiggle it a little bit. Alright, it's time to clean this mess up. Turn everything off for safety. And then take a look at what we have. Glue strings everywhere. Get those all out of here. More pins. Okay, so before I go any further, let's sweep this in. You could keep these little clips that were on the picks to use for something else, but I keep everything, and that's ridiculous. That means I have plenty already stashed away. And a little tip for you as well. If you get glue blobs on your workspace, this one's, I think it's for spackling. And yes, it's purple. Everything's purple that I could possibly get. That's how you get all your glue unstuck from your cutting board. Alright. Let me take one look at her. Fix these edges that I smashed when I was working on it. Oh, he's so pretty. I love him. Curve some of these leaves. I'll have to go back and use this to get all the blocking off of the places it's not supposed to be. Where's the red one? There it is. Get these here. Just some basic housekeeping, and then I'll lift it up. Oh, he's so cute. You're so cute, Santa. You are so cute. If I might say so myself. Give these a little bit of curve. Gives it more dimension. You don't want everything flat. That's no fun. Boring. Boring. I think I did this side, but I'm going to do it again. Just because. Okay. Alright. Here he is in all his glory. Santa. Right there. Love it. There you go. Okay, guys, there you have it. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you spending some time with me where I create beautiful things for you. If you like what you've seen, please feel free to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and you will get notifications as well. Every Sunday, I have tutorials at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, so you'll get notified for those. You can also find me on Facebook, Etsy, YouTube, and Pinterest. I am Wreaths by Marguerite on all those platforms. Etsy is where you purchase my product, unless you're local. Then you can reach out to me for local pickup or delivery. Yeah, so there's all that. Most of all, like I said, I appreciate you spending some of your valuable time with me today. Stay tuned every Sunday, 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time to see new content. And until next time, happy crafting, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye!